scored overtime. OT, baby, with a little lip violin. I like it. Very nice. When did you discover you had that skill?
6th grade.
Really?
Yes.
What were you doing at the time?
Making dog noises, and then I realized that it translated to musicality.
Wow. I bet your teachers were so proud.
They really weren't. Shocking.
I love it. Well, we got a lot of people signed on the live chat. We're going to get this thing going here. There's a little spot in between us all here because Judge Napolitano had to scoot.
Yes.
So he is not.
He's a busy man.
Busy man on a mission.
Cloak.
Yes.
Nope. He is not only contributing to various shows here at Fox. He's got Freedom Watch on the web.
Yeah.
He writes a weekly column, sometimes thrice weekly.
He also gives free legal advice.
And he's a professor at a law school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that
He's
right?
got a full slate of classes he's teaching.
Wow.
He's also really just a good time. I love
Yeah.
the judge. I think he's so sweet.
He's
and funny.
amazing. He really is. Like the clarity he brings to certain issues is really stunning. And it's so often that, as we read about things and things are developing, I always want to find the judge or read what he has to say because he's got a very comforting voice, but it's so rational and factually based that even people who have disagreements with him understand where he's coming from, and he always brings great perspective.
Wow. Interesting. Wow.
He should cut that and put that on his website, his Twitter page.
Right.
I know.
I know you guys are just dying to talk about the U.S. Open. Did anybody watch it?
I didn't watch it, but I know that Dustin Johnson, who's there is a U.S. Open in tennis. Yeah. There absolutely is. But this is golf.
Sorry.
Yeah, the U.S. Open of tennis happens late August, early September.
Anyway, I'm just teasing.
Sorry, you guys.
That's what's on my mind.
Who won last night?
Dustin Johnson.
After being penalized.
Very
I watched
controversial.
a little bit of it when I got back from Minnesota on Saturday, and I watched a little Jason Day. I think it was 2 over. They had to scrunch it together because of weather. So there were 36 holes in one day or something. My husband was watching all of it. It was Father's Day weekend, so he's allowed to watch as much golf as he wants. Allowed. That's a silly word. But we don't disturb him when he's watching.
Man time. There was a basketball game last night, too. That's terrible.
That basketball game was so stunning. And can I just say something about that was so important? So the game didn't start until 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And, we had some friends over for Father's Day, put the girls to bed. My husband and I watched the end of the game. And to see LeBron James dissolve in tears, you realize how important it is for him to deliver a championship to a city that needs it, a city that he loves so much. The fact that he went on that journey, and as the prodigal son, he returned to Cleveland.
Wow,
and
you're really passionate about this.
Their team was down 3-1. That means Golden State had 3 chances to win the championship. They just had to win 1 game. And Cleveland came back from that deficit. And they watched the tape, they figured it out, and they stopped Steph Curry and were able to bring an improbable championship to their city.
Oh, no. Don't tell me you're one of those LeBron James is the best player that ever lived.
And this is
because
why,
let me be clear, it's Michael Jordan.
No, but I'm not saying I don't think anyone, even Oscar Robertson, can outshine Michael Jordan. I don't think he's a Michael Jordan caliber player. But what I will say,
I'm putting it
he
on the live
delivered
chat.
on his promise. And he, no matter what you could say about LeBron James, I thought he was so arrogant when he left. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. I just spit when I said that. I thought that he was such a slacker when he said that, but he brought it back so passionate. It meant so much on Father's Day with his kids there. And he said to the cameras, you have to believe in yourself. You have to work hard. And essentially your dreams can come true. And I thought, what a great message for kids.
I just put out a live chat. Who is the best of all time in the NBA? You say it's Jordan.
Oh, that's fact, actually. So
you think it is LeBron?
No, I think it's absolutely Michael Jordan. I think LeBron James is a phenomenal player.
Where
Had a
does Kobe
triple-double last
Bryant
night.
fit into all of this?
He's real good. Magic Johnson, when Kobe Bryant retired at the beginning of his final game at Staples Center, said that Kobe Bryant is the greatest LA Laker to ever play the game. I disagree with that. I think Magic Johnson is the greatest LA Laker. I still think Michael Jordan is the best basketball player.
Johnson's pretty great. All right. Well, who knew we were going there? And what's Dustin Johnson do? Is he from Dallas, too?
I don't know where he's
just,
from, but I think
Jordan Spieth is from daughter.
Yeah, Paulina Gretzky, which that became a major talking point at the win because she stepped out in a very revealing white dress.
Her Instagram is censored. It's been taken down a lot.
It's nice
by her dad.
No, because of her controversial picture.
She and Dustin Johnson just had a baby boy, so she's just coming off of introducing a new little one to the world, but she looks spectacular.
Why do we get so caught up in what women wear when Kim Kardashian made a sex tape and balanced a champagne glass on her butt?
Because this is golf and it's a little bit more conservative and.
All right.
And that hasn't been sexy since Tiger Woods was.
Okay.
Yeah, and isn't it nice to see golf, kind of rise again in popularity without a sex scandal?
What I think it was interesting is because Wayne Gretzky apparently had a problem with his daughter's photos. And every time I post anything on Instagram or Twitter, I always think that my father and my grandma and my mom will see it and would it be okay? So that was the angle I thought was interesting about that story.
I don't have that problem. My mother thinks that Twitter is, something active that the birds do.
That is true.
Yes, it is.
And they're not yet married. They're fiancé.
Oh,
They're affianced.
Excuse me.
Affianced.
All right. So Emily Treck says Magic Johnson. I asked who's the all-time best.
What about Charles Barkley? Sons. No.
Okay. He's real good. Fun to watch. Dynamic player.
He's real good.
He's a big man.
I only know basketball players
Clyde
from my
Drexler,
youth.
also great player. Not the best to ever play the game.
Ooh.
Michael Thompson, who was a former Portland Trailblazer, his son Clay plays for the Golden State Warriors and had a really great series. Not enough, though, in the end. And he and Steph Curry kind of went cold in Game 7.
Really? Wow. You are just a plethora of sports information.
Of information in general, right, Kennedy?
I enjoy sporting very much.
I do too. I'm not as smart as you are, though. So,
Yes, you are.
question for you guys about the gun legislation that is, because I'm kind of seeing what's trending here, about the gun legislation that's hitting Capitol Hill. You say none of those 4 bills, and it's bipartisan effort.
They know they are. 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats.
Nothing's going to go forward.
Nope, nothing will reach the president's
It's all
desk.
optics.
Yeah.
It's just to make themselves feel better. Liberals, like they're actually trying to do something.
Yeah, it's an election year, and Republicans are trying to say, no, we care about this just as much as you do. We're not tone deaf.
So the research that I've done, and I'm sure you guys have read this too, is that actually if you look at the African continent and other places where we've seen jihad waged, it isn't always with a gun. Actually, they like to make bombs, those terrorists.
They can't afford guns, by and large. And I'm not kidding. They are readily available in Western Europe.
So why is the conversation here going there? Not to state completely the obvious, we know the president took it there. Pretty quickly after Orlando, quickly after San Bernardino. He didn't talk too much, though, after Kate Steinle got killed in San Francisco by an illegal person who was here. But I guess if he could have, he probably would have brought up guns.
No,
Maybe.
and my main question
based on track
is
record.
If the terrorist in Orlando were not able to buy guns legally himself as a security guard, he was not considered a terrorist for long by the FBI or the security company where he worked as an armed security guard. Even if he were not able to buy these guns legally, would he still committed this act? And I say absolutely. And if he were so inspired by the Tsarnaev brothers, then he would have built his own pressure cooker and detonated it. I don't think he was terribly adept at something like that, and I think a gun was just an easier avenue for him. However, there are so many people, they can turn their cars into explosive devices.
Well, I was just going to say it's a cheaper alternative from what I've read, and with Boston bombers, they were still close to their families. Not to say that other people aren't, but what we're learning about the guy in Orlando is that he drove his wife around as he was buying ammunition. That's different than your aunts and uncles seeing you pack up the garage with ammo. So maybe the pressure cookers and the homemade bomb making is also something that's easier to hide.
I just think things like this, when people talk about gun-free zones and increasing legislation, all it does is hurt people that go through the proper channels to do it. I think there's a wild misunderstanding of what gun owners in America, why they feel the need to arm themselves, and why it's so important to so many people in this country. And I, for one, always love a good fight. I am exhausted with talking to people on the left about this because they get, in my experience, and I host a 3-hour radio show every day, they get so emotional and so reactionary and so personal in a way that I always find it's that and abortion are the 2 things I have such a hard time because no one can meet in the middle about anything.
No, they really don't want to listen to other sides, and they don't even try to understand where people might be coming from who grew up around guns for self-protection or recreation. And, my problem is I go on Facebook and I don't want to hear people's diatribes. I'm really not interested in it. And you lose friends that way because if you respond factually and logically to someone who makes a poor argument about gun control on Facebook, you will no longer be friends with them. That's the point of discourse we've gotten to in this country.
It breaks up relationships. We know that when people get into these things that are deeply rooted in their politics. I mean, it makes dating difficult. Gosh. Anyway, are you all right over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.